What's up, guys? This is Jensen and welcome to another video. So I'm going to release my 2020 NFL mock draft today, and I'll put the full mock draft below this video in the comment section because I don't have enough time to talk about all the teams and how they did. But ultimately, I think that a lot of teams did well in this mock draft. A lot of teams were able to fill up glaring holes. I think that a lot of teams did pretty well. But, I mean, there were a couple teams who could have done better looking back at it. But let's just get into it. Let's look at the winners. And I'm going to try and stay away from the obvious ones. Like, obviously, if you're the Cincinnati Bengals or Washington Redskins, you get your hands on a guy like Joe Burrow or Chaisson, you're an automatic winner. So I'm going to avoid those type of teams. Let's look at some of these teams that are kind of under the radar who won. I look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, first of all. When you're able to get Javon Kinlaw at number 9, this dude coming out of South Carolina, he's going to be a guy who wreaks havoc in the NFL. Really talented, physically skilled. And he was kind of raw coming into this season, but I think that he's actually going to be pretty good. And I think that you pair him with a guy like Myles Jack at linebacker. Josh Allen is a stud. I've been talking about him last year a lot. I thought that he could have potentially been a number 1 overall pick, although that might be a mistake in hindsight. But he slipped all the way to number 7 last year for the Jaguars. Josh Allen is a force of nature. So you pair a guy like Kinlaw with Josh Allen and Myles Jack, and despite that defense losing a ton of talent, obviously they lost Calais Campbell, they traded away Jalen Ramsey midway through last season. I think that this team could be pretty good defensively this year, and that's despite losing all that talent. So I think that the Jaguars win. But let's look at their pick at number 20. Being able to pick Josh Jones, the offensive tackle from Houston, that's a huge win for them. At number 20, I think that's a pretty good pick for them. He's not quite as good as the first 4 guys in this draft, but I think that Josh Jones could be definitely a starting caliber NFL offensive tackle. So I think that if you're the Jaguars, you're looking towards 2021, you're potentially looking into drafting Trevor Lawrence, because it seems like to everyone outside of the Jaguars organization, it seems like they're tanking. So I think that you're able to get a guy like Josh Jones at offensive tackle to have for a guy like Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields when you draft them next year. I think that's a huge win for the Jaguars. And I think that the Atlanta Falcons also win in this draft because we've heard rumors that they might want to trade up for a guy like CJ Henderson, the cornerback out of Florida. And rightfully so. He's probably the second best cornerback in this draft. And some are saying he might even be top 10. I don't know if I'd go that far. But I have him slipping all the way to number 16, where Atlanta picks. I think that that'd be perfect for them because CJ Henderson, he feels the need for them, obviously. He makes that defense better, which I think that should be the focus for Atlanta. Their offense seems pretty good, but defensively they need some help. You're able to plug a hole like that without having to trade up a stud like CJ Henderson. That's a win for Atlanta, in my opinion. And I think that the Philadelphia Eagles win, too, in this mock draft because, first of all, I have them selecting T. Higgins, the wide receiver from Clemson, in the first round, the 21st pick. And I think that T. Higgins, he's one of those bigger wide receivers. He can catch jump balls, and I think that he's going to be productive right out of the gates. And for a team that really struggled at wide receiver last year, they were at a point where Greg Ward Jr. was like the guy they depended on at wide receiver. So I think for a team like that, to be able to get T. Higgins in the first round, that's a nice pick for them. But also at 31, I have them trading up with the San Francisco 49ers to select Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety from Minnesota. And I think that safety, it might not be the Eagles' biggest need, but a guy like Winfield Jr., who is a first-round pick, it might be worth it for the Eagles to trade up potentially, in my opinion. I think Winfield Jr. is a first-round talent, so you're able to trade up for a guy like that, plug him into that defense. And I think that the Eagles could potentially be a Super Bowl contender, a serious Super Bowl contender in the NFC, in my opinion, by getting Winfield. Obviously, having 3 4th-round picks in this draft, that should be able to help them make this trade because San Francisco, since the 49ers don't really have a pick until the 5th round as currently projected, if you trade away perhaps 2 4th-round picks in this draft to the 49ers, plus maybe a 3rd or 4th-round pick next year, I think that trade gets done. I think the 49ers get some extra picks that could really help them. And the Eagles, they're able to get a safety that they'll be able to plug into their roster. And I think that that'd be very nice for the Eagles. But as we all know, with every winner in this draft, there's also some losers. And the Lions are probably a loser in this draft. It's not because of who they got. Jeff Okudah's a stud. He's going to be productive right out of the gate. But in my opinion, the Lions have a ton of holes. So you're looking to trade back if you're Detroit. But that's not going to happen. I don't think anyone's trading up for Tua Tagovailoa or Justin Herbert. So if you're the Detroit Lions, you're just going to have to draft Okudah at number 3. And as great as he is, I think he's sensational. but he's not going to fix that defense all of a sudden. This defense who ranked nearly bottom of the league in all major categories. I don't think that he's going to immediately fix them or something like that, because he's not Chase Young. As great as he is, he's not a guy on the defensive line who can immediately make an impact for a team. So I think that the Lions lose, and also the Rams, because they don't have a first-round pick, and that's pretty sad for them, because as great as Jalen Ramsey is, you're going to end up paying him a lot of money. And the key of having first-round picks is that you're able to get talent at a cost-controlled price, at a rookie contract. That's the key. If you're the Rams and you have so many big-time contracts, that's what you want. So trading away that opportunity, especially in this draft where there should be a ton of nice players at number 20 for them to pick, the Rams not having that opportunity, that's painful for them, guys. That's sad. I mean, it's tough for them. And I think that in the end, if you're the Rams, you ultimately lose, because even though I think Jalen Ramsey is the top 3 cornerback in this league, you're missing out on the opportunity to add cost-controlled talent. That's the key, isn't it? It's cost-controlled talent, and I think that the Rams lose for that reason. Other than that, there isn't really any other losers in this draft, per se. Perhaps you could say the Cowboys at number 17, because C.J. Henderson gets drafted right before them, and then they end up having to pick Kristian Fulton, the cornerback from LSU. Not that he's a bad player, he's just not C.J. Henderson caliber, in my opinion. So I think the Cowboys, you could also label them as a loser, perhaps. But I think that they had to draft a cornerback. Probably that's what they're going to do, because they lost Byron Jones. Byron Jones is a stud. You're going to need someone to plug in right out of the gate. So I think that the Cowboys, I guess you could count them as a loser as well. It was a very interesting thing for sure, in my opinion, this mock draft. There was definitely a lot of teams that won, some losing teams. And I'm pretty excited for draft night and Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Should be very interesting, in my opinion. And we'll see how it goes, though. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Please like and subscribe. I'll be praying for NFL and NBA hot takes as the season goes on. And have a good day. Remember to follow me on Twitter, Jensen Sports. See y'all later.